Hello, welcome, Devil Sniper here, and today I am bringing you episode number 8 of our career mode with West Ham United, and we're going to start the episode off by going straight into a squad report, seeing how the boys are doing, seeing how they're developing, and pick on a couple of them who aren't pulling their weight as such. But Adrian is one of those players who is doing really well. Perhaps, he might have had a couple of poor games, but nothing too serious. I think out of all the players this season so far, Adrian has been one of the standouts alongside, Tompkins, Reed, Noble and Ravel Morrison for me personally. And as you can see, they're doing quite well, especially Jenkinson. He's developing well. Creswell is starting to develop really well. His statistics are solid. Someone who I actually quite like. He's really good going forward and he actually does a remarkable defensive job. I'm quite impressed at his defensive capabilities. Now, Poyet is a player who I want to start getting into the team, start rotating a little bit more, see if we can develop him because he definitely has caught my eye in training and he's definitely putting in good stints when he does get an opportunity to come on for the last 15-20 minutes. Zarate needs to be more clinical in front of goal. I think we all can agree with that. The same with probably Seiko and Enna Valencia. It needs to be a little bit more clinical in front of goal. We've been guilty of that all season, which we'll be able to see when we look at the actual league table. My biggest disappointment at the moment, and one of the players I really thought would be fantastic, is Alexander Asong. He's just not at the races at this moment in time. A little bit of bad form, but I'm sure it will correct itself and it will pan itself out over the course of the season and he'll start putting in the performances. Same with Downing, he's been playing really well for me personally. I think he's doing an admirable job and playing really good football. Ravel Morrison is one of the surprises. He's so agile, he's so good. When he's on the ball, he is really good. His distribution, his final distribution needs a little bit of work, so we'll work on that in training, just getting his final ball to perfection and try and work on him having a little bit more clinical shots. He gets himself to some great spots and he just needs to start pinging them in. He's got the ability to do it. We see him doing it in training all the time, so hopefully he'll be able to do that in the coming games, weeks and months during the season. Obviously, a few of the boys have come back from loan, like Flamino and Burke, not Burke, and the other lad I've got, Maguire, have obviously come back from their loan stint, so we probably will be farming them out again in January, just to get them some more playing time, just to get them some more experience, and, see how they develop and make a decision on them come next summer, which is a little bit away, but it's nice to get, a feel for how they're developing. Now we're going to look at the league table, and I think there's two surprises. One, Stoke City are in second place, and they're the only undefeated team in the Barclays Premier League. And the second is Arsenal are in 15th place. 1 win, 5 draws, 3 losses is just, that is astounding. Obviously ourselves, we are languishing in 13th, 2 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses, scored 6, conceded 6 is not very nice, and that shows our lack of clinical finishing in front of goal, which is a real disappointment. RVP for Manchester United at the top there with 6 goals. Hardaldo in second with 5 goals is, they're scoring goals and that's why they're up the top end of the table. If we were a little bit more clinical, we would be up that top end of the table. But we've got an extremely tough game. We are away to Stoke City. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a physical game. We're going to stick with the formation that we took from the Manchester City game because I feel that we played well against Manchester City in that last sort of 15-20 minutes. We really did play well, and I feel if we were a little bit more clinical, we would have taken a point out of that game. It wasn't meant to be, but we did see a fantastic goal from Mark Noble. But as you can see, the boys starting off really brightly. Great play from Valencia there. And Reed, of all people, it was Winston Reed getting forward in the 8th minute as a cam. It was unbelievable, but he's such a great player. Look at Reed in so much time and space, spreads the ball out to Tompkins on that right-hand side. He feeds it into Jenkinson, who plays a delightful ball round the corner into Valencia. Valencia just fake shots, puts it on his left foot, and that's the only invitation he needed. And I think that's proved one thing for me personally, is if you get Valencia into a position, don't give him time to think. Just have an instant reaction, and he will score. It just seems to be one of those players that if you give him too much time to think, do I stick it left, do I stick it right, he's going to probably miss. But he cuts back inside delightfully, sticks it on his weaker left foot, and just slots the ball home, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. But you can see how good we're actually playing, picking up the ball. Valencia knocking it into Zarate. Zarate spreading the play by drifting across, knocking the ball into Diego Poyet, who's getting a starting role, into Jenkinson. Jenkinson back into Poyet, and we're just playing beautiful football. And look at Zarate. He really is a godsend. He tried to do a little bit too much at the end. Should have played the easier ball. Unfortunately, he didn't. But really to Noble. Noble into Poyet. Poyet's got so much time and space, nothing else but have a little dink at goal. He certainly does have a nice little dink, and unfortunately it didn't go in. But that was enough for the first half. The West Ham faithful were in fantastic and buoyant voice, as you would expect, because we were leading 1-0. And you'll probably guess today's episode is going to be a little bit more chilled. Probably, I suppose you could call it a little bit more methodical. got a banging headache, and it's just one of those things. But I want to get the episode 8 and 9 done today, because that'll give me a little bit of a break and a chance to do some more during the week. So it's just one of those things, unfortunately. So hopefully you don't mind. Hopefully you're enjoying the episode. And we have got a new man of the match. My 9-year-old daughter Yasmin has designed a new man of the match, which I think is pretty cool. It's really nice, clean, crisp and simplistic, and I really like it. So I'll be interested to see how you think about it. She's got she's really into her arty-farties type stuff, where I'm just really crap at it. And obviously Cresswell there, what a tackle. The boy loses out the ball on the halfway line to Doof, and then he goes and gets it back by taking down Walters. That was one of those things, but it was nice to see the passion. Great play there from Mark Noble and Poya interlinking. Great opportunity, but what was Noble doing? He had all that time. I don't think he realised he had that additional time to knock the ball in, but it was just one of those things. But look at Javo getting down that left-hand side, feeding that ball into Zarate. Zarate plays the ball into Valencia, and Valencia unfortunately just pushes it wide. Great piece of play, great play by Zarate, knocking the ball into Valencia, and unfortunately he just knocked that ball wide, which was a little bit disappointing, but unfortunately it's just one of those things. But a great game nonetheless. To get the 3 points and a 1-0 victory away from home was fantastic. And of course, my man of the match for that game was Winston Reid. From the start of the game to the end of the game, he was solid as a rock. He was pushing forward, and he was just doing such a fantastic job. Such a solid centre-back. As you can see, what I've done with what Yasmin has done, I should say, she's put the West Ham image behind, and then she's put on like little game images, which she got me obviously to take the picture. And I just think it looks really good, but I'm obviously biased because I'm her father. But it's just great to get my kids involved either way. There won't be a daily Jaffa today. I'm not going to do it every episode. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Hopefully you'll like it being mixed up. Let me know in the comment section below if you do or you don't. So, the next game of the episode is, of course, a home game to Aston Villa. We're looking pretty solid. The Villa side is pretty, to be fair, that's a decent side. We've just got to keep an eye on Benteke, because he's going to be, his aerial prowess is going to be something we're going to have to contend with, but hopefully we can do that. But DeMille playing a delightful ball down that wing to Downing, and Downing, this is what he does week in, week out. Keeps the ball fantastically, creates a bit of space. Unfortunately, the cross isn't the best in the world, but you could say that the movement by the centre forward wasn't the best either. But one of those things. But Villa came straight back at us, some nice dribbling in the box. They were really teasing us, but we were defending really well, really stoutly, making a nice defensive line, trying to keep them out. Unfortunately, we do give that ball away, which is a little bit annoying, but the tank comes up with the goods there. He read the situation, nice defensive header to get the ball out, and we pick it up with Downing on that right-hand side, trying to get through. Morrison comes across. Unfortunately, he couldn't create anything out of it, but it was just nice to see us bomb forward. We really do look good when we go forward. Just sometimes our final ball is just that fraction off, unfortunately. A nice cross. Well, I think it was a cross. I'm not sure if he meant that as a shot from Sanchez there, but that was quite inventive. But Ravel Morrison picks up the ball, and for me, he just glides around the pitch, plays a beautiful ball into Kare, who has the shot, which unfortunately he doesn't catch quite the way he wanted with his left foot. We go in at the half-time interval with a 0-0 scoreline, but I've got to say, from the first half, we were playing the better football. It was just the simplistic thing of our final ball was lacking, unfortunately. But I had faith in the boys. I didn't make any changes. We come out in Zogbia straight away, cuts through us, but thankfully the lino is there with his flag dangling out for the offside decision, which was quite a relief, I can tell you. But Joey O'Brien picking up that ball, cutting inside, nearly giving the ball away. Thankfully kept hold of it, knocked it into Ravel Morrison, who plays a nice ball into Andy Carroll. Carroll with the fake shot, gets that half a yard, and then just slots the ball past the Villa goalkeeper. It was an absolute delightful goal. The big man with the fake shot straight past the defender onto his stronger left foot, thankfully. As you do know, in episode 7 he stuck one on his right foot, and we're not sure if it's landed or if it's nestling in the top of the stand at this moment in time, but it was a delightful finish nonetheless. But Westwood down that right hand side for Villa gets a fantastic crossing, but what a great defensive header, and the big man himself coming deep, picking up the ball, giving it into Morrison, who just, as I say, he just floats around the pitch, he just glides. He's just such a good technical player. He's always calm on the ball, always looking to distribute a sensible ball, playing it into Javo over there, receives the ball back, plays a nice ball into the tank, but unfortunately the tank did give it away. I could say that, Morrison didn't play the kindest of balls there, but it was just so nice to see us playing such good, solid football, not panicking and just lobbing it out, which is what I like to see. But Villa started to turn up the tempo. You could really feel them turning up the tempo. A nice effort there, I think, from Nzogbia, and then Kieran Richardson with a wild follow-up. But look at Jarvis cutting inside, weaving in and out, gets the nice crossing. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best cross in the world. If he could have got a little bit more on that cross, we could have been 2-0 up, and that could have killed the game off. But 1-0 was enough, thankfully, and it was a big 3 points. That's back-to-back victories. You can see how much it means to the big man himself. Big Andy Carroll, absolutely loving that, you know, on the score sheet, which we love to see, absolutely love to see. But my man of the match in that game has to be Ravel Morrison. He played delightfully, absolutely was an absolute joy to watch. Put in a real solid performance, and I'm really, you know, really looking forward to see how he develops. And perhaps you've picked up that I've had a bit of a disagreement with Hodgson about the England team, but look at that, Matt Jarvis is getting his England call up, which is absolutely biblical.
I used to dream about cars and things, about being a star.